Yes. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. And you?
Good, thank you. You look beautiful in your blue. Is that jacket blue?
Yes.
That's nice color. I like it. All right, so we're a little bit late, so we have to start about a day for the dead mini story or question and answer. Okay?
Yes.
I will make a statement like I arrived in Guatemala. And when you hear a statement, a sentence, you just say ah or oh or okay. Okay? If it's not a question, okay.
Yes.
You need to say that uh you can say okay or ah. It means you understand, okay?
Yes.
Or you can just say yes, yes, like you do. It shows that you understand that the statement is not a question. If a statement is not a question, when you hear the statement, you will say, okay. Let's practice. I arrived in Guatemala.
Okay.
Okay, good. The second thing I will do is ask a question you know the answer to. I know you answer. I know you know the answer for my question, but sometimes we stop for a while to think about it. The important this time is the speed. I mean, the faster you answer my question, the s- the the better. Okay.
Yes.
All right. For example, where do I arrive?
You arrive in Guatemala.
Good job. That is very fast. But sometimes uh, you can't think of a sentence sometimes, so you have to stop. But this time, just say one word. If you can't say it in a sentence or two words or three words, as long as it's right answer and fast. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Mm, I say I arrived in Guatemala. Where did I arrive?
Where?
Where did I? Yeah.
You arrive in Guatemala.
All right. Good job. Okay. The next thing I need to say is I might ask a question that you don't know. Okay. So if you don't know the answer, just make a guess. Okay. Just a guess. Make a guess if you don't know the answer.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Guess? Yeah, guess. All right. So let's start.
Ah, why me 1 minute?
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay. If you don't know the answer, make a guess. Okay, let's start. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Did I arrive in Guatemala?
Yes, you arrived in Guatemala.
Where did I arrive?
You arrived in Guatemala.
Good job. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Who arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead?
You arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead.
Good job. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? All right. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Did I arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd?
No. You didn't. You didn't arrive in Guatemala on the day of the dead, November 3rd.
Okay. So, yeah, that's right. But you can say you didn't arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd to make it faster and short. All right?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
Again, let's do it again. Did I arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd?
No, you didn't arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd.
All right, 3rd. So, because I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st, what day did I arrive in Guatemala?
You arrived in Guatemala on November 1st.
That's right. I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st. Okay, where did I arrive on November 1st?
You arrived in Guatemala on November 1st.
Good job. See, same answer, but different kind of questions. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Again.
Okay, is it a question or not?
Again.
I said I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Yeah.
What will you say?
No.
What will you say if not a question?
You said I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Okay.
I was curious about this holiday, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening.
Okay.
Was I angry about this holiday?
No. No, you didn't. You did. You wasn't. You
Good
wasn't angry about the holiday.
Okay, I wasn't angry about this holiday. Was I sad about this holiday?
No, you didn't. You wasn't sad holiday. This holiday.
About this holiday. I wasn't sad about this holiday. I was curious about this holiday.
Okay.
Who was curious about this holiday?
You was curious about this holiday.
Good job. What was I curious about?
You was curious this holiday
About the
about this
holiday.
holiday.
Okay, this time we will not say this holiday. Okay? I was curious about the holiday.
Yes.
Because the question is what? What was I curious about? I was curious about the holiday. Which holiday was I curious about? Which holiday was I curious about?
On the day of the dead, November
Good
1st.
job. Good job. The Day of the Dead. I was curious about the Day of the Dead. Was I curious about the Day of the Dead? Or was I curious about Christmas?
You was curious about the holiday.
What holiday? The
No Christmas.
Not Christmas, but the day about the Day of the Dead. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. I was curious about the Day of the Dead. So I went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Where did I go?
You went to the cemetery.
Good job. I went to the cemetery. Did I go to the cemetery or did I go to the airport?
You went to the cemetery.
Good job. Easy, right? I went to the cemetery. Who went to the cemetery?
You went to the cemetery.
That's right. Where did I go? Where did I go?
You went to the cemetery.
Yes, perfect. Very fast answer. Good job, Kim Ngok. November 1st. When did I go to the cemetery?
You went to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Perfect answer. Very long answer. Good job. Why did I go to the cemetery?
You because you want to you want you want to
That
you wanted to see what's happening.
Okay, I went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Okay,
Yes.
or you can say that your answer is also correct because I wanted to see what was happening. It's the same. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What? Where was the cemetery? Where was the cemetery?
When our
Where?
where mm, uh, ah you went to the cemetery in Guatemala.
Good job. Perfect. The cemetery was in Guatemala. So, what is the Day of the Dead? What is the Day of the Dead?
Mm, uh, uh, uh,
What is the Day of the Dead? Is it a holiday?
no,
What is the Day of the Dead? Is it a holiday?
no,
It's a yes. It is a holiday. The Day of the Dead is a holiday.
yes,
I understand what is holiday.
yes,
Okay, holiday is like a festival. Sometimes there is a party, right? Sometimes people are dancing, singing, drinking, eating, and chatting together, right?
yes, yes,
That that is a holiday. So everyone is happy. Okay?
yes.
So, oh my gosh, where's my question? It's gone. Uh, what happened? When is the day? Oh, here. What is the Day of the Dead? What is the Day of the Dead?
Mm, uh, the Day of the Dead was a holiday.
Okay. If it's a holiday, we can use the verb is. The Day of the Dead is a holiday. Okay?
Yes,
All right. The Day of the Dead is a holiday. When is the Day of the Dead? When is the Day of the Dead?
the Day of the Dead on November 1st.
All right. That's right. Was or and is. You can use the Day of the Dead was and is November 1st. Okay?
Yes,
All right. Let's do it again. When is the Day of the Dead?
the Day of the Dead is November 1st.
Okay, so I went to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead to see what was happening. What I found was quite interesting. Was it boring?
No, it wasn't boring.
That's right, it wasn't boring. Was it interesting?
Yes, it was interesting.
Good job. It was interesting. Can you say the word it? It, it.
It, it, it.
Good job. All right. Was it interesting?
Mm, yes, it was interesting.
Good job. The cemetery was interesting. How did I feel about cemetery? I felt it was interesting or I thought it was interesting. Oh, I said the answer, but I will say the question again. How did I feel about the cemetery?
Mm, you feel
Felt.
interest felt you felt interesting about uh, the the
Cemetery.
yes, the cemetery.
Okay. How did I feel about the cemetery?
Mm, you felt interesting about the 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 cemetery.
All right. All right. One more time. That's right. I felt it was interesting about the cemetery. I'll repeat the question. How did I feel about the cemetery?
You felt it was interesting about this cemetery?
All right. Good job. Was it boring or was it interesting?
It was interesting.
Good job. Of course, it was interesting. What was interesting? What was interesting? The cemetery?
It was quite interesting.
Yeah. And I'm asking, what was interesting?
Mm,
What was interesting for me?
the cemetery.
Good job. Good guess. That's right. You that is correct answer. The cemetery was interesting, or the cemetery was quite interesting. When was the cemetery interesting? What day or when, or what kind of atmosphere? When was change the question. When was the cemetery interesting?
The again.
When was the cemetery interesting?
The cemetery was interesting on the day of the dead,
Good
November
job.
1st.
Perfect. The atmosphere in the cemetery was like a party. Was the atmosphere very sad?
No, it wasn't set.
Yes, the atmosphere wasn't sad, or was not sad. The atmosphere was like a party. The atmosphere was very happy. What the Was the atmosphere sad or happy?
The uh, the atmosphere was happy.
Good job. The atmosphere was happy. Can you say the atmosphere?
The atmosphere was happy.
Okay. So let's practice the word atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Okay. So atmosphere. No no S in S, okay? Because sometimes I heard S. Okay?
Yeah.
The moss, it has S, but the at, no S, okay? Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Good job, perfect.
Atmosphere.
All right. The atmosphere was happy. The atmosphere was like a party. Was What was like a party? What was like a party?
Mm, the atmosphere.
Good job. The atmosphere in the cemetery was like a party. Where was the atmosphere like a party? Where was the atmosphere like a party?
In the cemetery.
Good job. The atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery. Was the atmosphere like a party at my house?
No.
No, not at my house, right? The atmosphere was like a party in the
Cemetery.
cemetery. Good job. The atmosphere was like a party, was not like a party in my house. So the atmosphere was like a party everywhere in the cemetery. The people were everywhere. There were people. anywhere.
Yes.
Families were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Where were the families sitting?
Families were sitting around the graves.
That's right. Around the graves of their dead ancestor, they were sitting around the graves. Who was sitting around the graves? Who was sitting around the graves?
Families were sitting around the graves.
Okay. Can you say around?
Around.
Yeah. Good job. The families were sitting around the graves. Where were they sitting around the trees?
Uh,
Were they sitting around the trees?
no, they didn't sitting around the tree.
Okay, that's right, but I used the word were, so they
Ah.
weren't.
No, they weren't.
All right. They weren't sitting around the trees. Can you say the word trees?
Trees.
Yes, don't forget the S, okay?
Yeah.
If there is S. They were sitting around the graves. So, where were they sitting? So, where were they sitting?
Um, they were sitting around the graves of their ancestors.
Good job. That's right. Around the graves, families were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Were they sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors?
Yes.
Yes, they were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestor. Were they sitting around the graves of their friends?
No.
No, not really. They were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Who was sitting around the graves?
Families were sitting around the graves.
Good job. Whose graves were they sitting around?
Mm,
Whose graves were they sitting around?
uh, um, of their dead ancestors.
That's right. Um, yes, their dead ancestors. Okay?
Yes.
Or we can say their ancestors' graves or their dead ancestors' graves. You can say this. I'll write it here.
Their
Yeah.
dead ancestors.
Yeah. Okay. We're done with that. They were sitting around the grave of their dead ancestors. Were they sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors or the grave of their friends?
Mm, mm, they were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors.
Okay, good job. They cleaned the graves and added fresh flour. Who cleaned the graves?
Mm, the families cleaned and cleaned the graves and
All right. What did they add?
they add fresh flowers.
They added fresh flowers. What did they add?
Mm, they add add
Added.
added
Add. Yeah.
They added fresh flowers.
Good job. Did they add food?
No,
No, they didn't add food. Did they add money?
no, they didn't add money.
Good job. They added fresh flowers. What did they clean? What did they clean?
They cleaned um, the graves.
Good job. Whose graves did they clean?
Families cleaned the graves.
Whose graves did they clean?
Ancestors grave.
Graves. Ancestors' graves. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I like your bangs. I like your hair here. We call that bangs.
Yes.
I will put tomorrow bangs.
Yes.
I will do like yours tomorrow.
Yes.
It looks beautiful to you. Okay. They cleaned their ancestors' graves. Where did they add flowers?
They ate the fresh flowers in the graves.
Okay, this time your answer is correct, but the preposition in we will change to. They added fresh flowers to the graves. So to the. But in is inside, right?
Yes.
So to next to the graves.
Yes.
And they added flowers to the graves. All right.
Yes.
They cleaned the graves and added fresh flowers. I walked through the cemetery and admired the beauty of all the colorful flowers. Where did I walk? Where did I walk?
You walk through the cemetery.
Good job. I walked through the cemetery. Did I walk through the park?
No, you didn't walk through the park.
I didn't walk through the park. I walked through the cemetery. Where did I walk?
You walked through the cemetery.
Good job. Can you say through? Through.
Through.
Good job. Through. Okay.
Yes.
Who walked through the cemetery? Who walked through the cemetery?
You walked through the cemetery.
Yes, I did. I walked through the cemetery. Did I walk through the cemetery or did I walk through the park?
You walked through the cemetery.
That's right. And I admired the beauty of all colorful flowers. Did I admire the beauty of the trees?
No.
No, I didn't admire the beauty of the trees. Did I admire the beauty of the children?
No.
No, I didn't admire the beauty of the children. What did I admire?
You admired the beauty beauty of the colorful flowers.
All right, that's correct. I admired the beauty of all the colorful flowers. Or you can say the flowers, just simply like that. Or you can say colorful flowers. That's fine. It's just the same answer. It means that you understand the story. Okay?
Yes.
Uh, I admired the beauty of all the colorful flowers. Who admired the beauty of all the colorful flowers?
You admired the beauty of all the colorful flowers.
Correct. Very good. Where were the flowers? Where were the flowers?
The flower was in the cemetery.
The flowers were on the graves in the cemetery. That's right. It's on the graves in the cemetery.
Yes.
Okay. Where were the flowers? Where were the flowers?
The flowers were on graves in the cemetery.
Okay. On the.
On the
On
graves.
the. Okay.
Yes.
The flowers were on the graves in the cemetery. All right. Where are we? Were the flowers in the park?
No. No.
No, they weren't in the park. Were the flowers in my house?
No. No, the flower wasn't in your house.
Okay. Where were the flowers? Where were the flowers?
The flowers were on the graves in the cemetery.
Where did I walk? Where did I walk?
You walked through the cemetery.
Okay, good job. When did I walk through the cemetery? When did I walk to the cemetery?
You walk through the cemetery on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
Perfect answer. Good job. What was the cemetery like? What was the cemetery like? It's like a
party.
It's like a party. It was like a party. The cemetery was like a party. Was I curious about this holiday? Was I curious about this holiday?
Yes.
Yes, I was curious about this holiday. Which holiday was I curious about? Which holiday was I curious about?
On the Day of the Dead.
Yes, the Day of the Dead. I was curious about the Day of the Dead. So I walked through the cemetery. There was also color in the sky because many kids were flying kites. Where was the color?
The color in the sky.
Good job. That's right. It's in the color was in the sky. Why was there color in the sky?
Because many kids were were flying kites.
Good job. Because kids are flying because many kids were flying kites. There was color in the sky because kids were flying kites. Who were flying kites?
Kids, many kids.
Good job. The kids or many kids. Kids were flying kites. Was the sky colorful or was the sky gray?
Again.
Was the sky colorful or was the sky gray?
In the sky colorful.
The sky was colorful.
Yes.
All right. What was colorful? What was colorful?
The colorful in the sky. The sky was colorful.
All right. Why was the sky colorful?
Because many kids were flying kites.
Good job. Can you say the word because? Because.
Because
Yes, because kids were flying kites. What were the kids flying? What were the kids flying?
In the sky.
What were the kids flying? Kites. Okay.
Yes.
The kids were flying kites. All right.
Yes.
So what were the kids flying?
The again.
What were the kids flying?
The kids were flying kites.
Good job. Where were they flying kites?
In the sky.
I mean, what place? Where were they flying kites?
Where? In the cemetery.
Good job. The kids were flying kites in the cemetery. Who was flying kites in the cemetery?
The kids.
Kids, or you can say children. It's the same. Kids or children were flying kites in the cemetery. Some families were having a picnic next to the graves. We in the United States don't do this. So some families were having a picnic next to the graves. They ate, they drank, and they chatted together. Did they eat?
Yes.
Yes, they ate. Who ate?
The families.
All right, of course, the families ate. What did they eat?
They ate watermelon food.
Good job. Yes. You can say without S, that's fine. They ate Guatemalan food, or they ate food from Guatemala. The families ate Guatemalan food. Did they eat American food?
No, you know they didn't eat food from American.
From America. Okay? They didn't eat food from America, or you can say they didn't eat American food. They ate Guatemalan food. Where did they eat Guatemalan food? Where did they eat Guatemalan food?
In Guatemala.
I mean, where in Guatemala? They ate food in the cemetery.
Yes.
Yes, okay, again. Where did they eat Guatemalan food?
They ate watermelon fruit in the cemetery.
Okay. They also drank in the cemetery. Did they drink water in the cemetery?
No.
What did they drink in the cemetery?
They drank beer.
Good job. Who drank beer? Who drank beer?
Families drank beer.
Good job. What did they eat?
They ate watermelon fruit.
That's right. Correct. They ate Guatemalan food and then drank beer. Did they drink beer or did they drink water?
They drank beer.
They drank beer. Where did they drink beer?
They drank beer in the cemetery.
All right, they drank beer in the cemetery. When did they drink beer? When did they drink beer?
They drank beer on the Day of the Dead.
All right. Or you can say November 1st, the Day of the Dead, they drink beer or they drank beer. When did they eat?
They ate on the Day of the Dead.
Good job, November 1st. Did they chat together?
Yes.
They chatted together. Who chatted together?
Families chatted together.
Good job. The families chatted together. When did they chat together?
They chatted together on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
And people laughed and smiled. In the United States, cemeteries are always somber. Are cemeteries happy in the United States?
No, they didn't happy.
The cemeteries aren't happy in the United States.
Yes.
The cemeteries are always somber, sad, and serious. All right. Are cemeteries serious in the United States? Are cemeteries serious in the United States?
Again.
Are cemeteries serious in the United States?
Yes.
Yes, they are. In the United States, cemeteries are always serious, always somber, always sad. In the cemeteries, in the United States, are cemeteries somber or are cemeteries happy?
Somber.
Somber. Good job. Cemeteries are always somber in the United States. Was the cemetery somber in Guatemala?
No.
No, it wasn't somber in Guatemala. The cemetery wasn't somber in the Guatemala, but in the United States, cemeteries are always somber. Are cemeteries always somber in Guatemala or in the United States?
In the United States.
Cemeteries are always
Somber.
Where are cemeteries always somber? Where are cemeteries always somber?
United States was somber.
Yep, the United States. In the United States, cemeteries are always somber. Okay?
Yes, United States cemetery are always somber.
All right. In the United States.
In the United States, cemeteries are always somber.
All right. So, are they happy?
No.
Yeah, that's right. You're correct. They are not happy. They are always somber. Cemeteries in the United States are always somber, very, very somber. We certainly never have festivals or parties next to graves. Do we have parties next to graves?
No.
No, we don't have parties next to graves. Do we ever have parties next to graves?
Again.
Do we ever have parties next to graves?
No. Evil.
No, never.
Yes.
Yep. So no, we never have parties next to graves. Okay.
Yes.
Do we ever have parties in restaurants?
Yes.
Yes, we have parties in restaurants, but we never have parties next to graves. Do we ever have parties in houses?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We do have parties in houses, but we never have parties next to graves. Do we ever have parties next to graves?
No.
No, never. We never have parties next to graves. Where do we never have parties?
We we had a party in the restaurant or in their
House.
house.
Okay. Okay, so we never have parties next to graves. The only parties we have is in the restaurants or in the house, not in the next to graves. All right. Do we ever or we never have parties next to graves? We don't laugh or play music or fly kites in the cemeteries either. Do we laugh in the cemeteries usually?
Again.
Do we laugh in cemeteries usually?
No.
No, we don't. We don't laugh in cemeteries. All right, that's all for tonight. See you tomorrow.
Yes. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye. Did you book me already? You
Yes.
booked me? Okay. 9 to 10, right?
Yes.
Good, good. See you. Bye. Take care.
Yes.
Good night.
Yeah, thank you.